Welcome to the Seattle Female Forum, presented by Toyota and WA Golf, a Project Fairway and PGD Global virtual production. This panel is the power of the pivot, and we have some magnificent and wonderful, powerful women that we are going to be talking to today. And I'll go ahead and I'll introduce everybody one by one. So first, I want to introduce the CEO of Resultants, the fabulous Anna Liotta.
Hello, hello.
Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us today, Anna.
Happy to be with you. Delighted to be with you.
Amazing. And next, we have the lovely Beth Hagen, VP and CFO of Premier Golf Centers. Welcome, Beth.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
And last but not least, we have Sheri Sam, the NCPGA Foundation Director, and of course, a fabulous former WNBA player. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So this is really exciting because this panel is about women in business, women doing great things in business, but also incorporating their love and their passion for the game of golf. Anna, can I start with you? Can you tell me a little bit about what you do day to day and how you incorporate golf?
Absolutely. So I have two things that are main on my platform day to day. I deliver keynote speeches to large audiences from anywhere from 8 to 8,000 plus. Now with online, it can be even more than that. And I do consulting for organizations that want to bring more of the generations into the game or into their organization. And so I help organizations understand what makes each generation tick and what ticks them off. So for the last decade, I've been working with the PGA about how to do some of that.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's exactly kind of, the path that the game of golf is taking, right? We need to sort of not tick everybody off, but what turns them on, right?
That's right. That's right.
Sheri, can you please tell us a little bit about what your day-to-day is? And I know you're involved with multiple organizations. Looking forward to hearing about what your day-to-day sounds like.
Absolutely. Well, I'm now with the Northern California PGA Foundation, and as the managing director, I pretty much, run the foundation. And right now we have our focus is our veterans, our military veterans. We have a program called PGA Hope, and we run golf clinics as a therapeutic rehabilitation for veterans in the Northern California, Nevada area. And in our PGA section, we have 1,100 PGA professionals in the North Bay in Nevada, and we service them as well. So we're always putting on fundraising tournaments or tournaments for the pros. So it's golf every day from wake up to bed. So, but I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it.
And hopefully you're finding some time to dribble the basketball, right? In between golf shots.
Absolutely. Got to. I train a couple of kids, so that's my relief. I go and I train them when my golf day is over. So.
Oh, that's awesome. You keep it going. Beth, welcome to Power of the Pivot. Please do share your day-to-day and how you incorporate golf.
So my day-to-day is more on an accounting standpoint, but it's really developing relationships with municipalities. Our company actually manages golf courses for municipalities, so it's a lot of relationship building, developing ways that we can bring golf into our communities more with different public benefits and community involvement, not just your standard typical golfers, but really getting the community involved in golf and in coming to the golf courses, introducing them to the game.
That's amazing, and that's so important. That's so important. Beth, before we move on, can you tell us how you learned the game of golf? How did golf come into your life? How did you pick it up?
Sure. To be fair, I'm not a very good golfer. I first took golf in college, and then it kind of drifted away, and I went down the accounting path. But after that, I joined a friend of mine. She needed an assistant at a resort and golf course in the accounting department, and I told her I would help out. So I did, and that's where I really was more introduced to the game of golf and became more interested in it. Then when I moved out here to Washington State, I decided that really I wanted to work for a golf organization. That's really the only prerequisite I had for a company that I worked for, was working in the golf industry with people who, you know, had the same beliefs, the same level of interest I did for involving people in the game and how it could really positively impact their lives.
Interesting. Everybody has their own special golf journey, and then, you know, can translate that to help other people and get more women into the game. Anna, tell us about how you picked up the game of golf. That's amazing. And I love to hear stories about that. I know that I have a special relationship with my father when it comes to the game of golf. I've been fortunate enough to play a lot of different rounds, and create a lot of different memories. Even the smell of air, sometimes I can picture myself playing golf with my dad. I appreciate that story.
Yeah, that it's so true. We might come into it later on, but I'll just drop in. I'm from a really large family. There are 19 kids in my family. So
19?
19, yeah. And there's a beautiful
19th
story
hole.
that goes with that. Say that, right? Like the 19th hole. So true.
God bless your mother. Yeah.
Yes. And the nice thing about golf is when you played with dad, that meant you got time with dad, right? Because with all those kids, getting time with dad was a premium. So I loved going on the golf course because that meant you got a few hours with dad.
Oh, that's special.
Right.
That's special. Do a lot of your siblings play? Or
Every single sibling, every single cousin, and every single in-law and niece and nephew all play golf. My dad was the global ambassador for golf. In fact, when we lost him, we had him until he was 91. But one of the things when we all came together for his celebration of life ceremony is people are like, I thought I was great at golf because Uncle Al or Grandpa Liotta or whatever, he always said I was a natural. And then I played golf with someone else outside the family and found out I wasn't quite as good as I thought I was, but he was so brilliant at making golf a joy, making golf something that brought people together. And that's why I think all of us still play and love it.
Liotta Ryder
That's really
Cup
the most
2022.
important thing.
Right? Exactly. In fact, we did a family golf tournament every year for 20 years, up until his passing. And it was something that you had to be 8 years old to play, right? You had to know how to play. The 8 was the threshold. Now we'd probably bring it down to 6, but it's something that we all, everybody got a trophy at it, whether you had the shortest drive or you had the best poker score or whatever. He always figured out a way for everybody to walk away with a golf ball trophy.
That's amazing. Such great memories. Sheri, tell us how, you got into the game. I mean, you were a superstar WNBA player turned golf enthusiast and now golf influencer, right?
Exactly. My world's changed. That was a great story, Anna, I must say. That's impressive. I never thought I would meet anyone with more siblings than Ruthie Holyfield, who was also a WNBA player. I think she had like 18 or 19, but you guys are right up there. So wow.
She's got people.
Unlike Anna's story, I played basketball and golf came into my world really through service. I saw the opportunity with the foundation to serve the community and to serve veterans. So, and then, another thing that's close to me is sport. I love sports. So here I was, a different sport, it's golf, but I would get a chance to impact the community. And that's that's what brought me into the game of golf, which Beth, I probably might be on your level with the game. I probably think I can golf with you. I'm learning the game of golf. It's a fantastic game, but I also agree that, you know, you're out on the course and you're in some, first of all, just amazing views, and just the environment there, you know, is so serene, but it's about the people you're with and building those relationships and the camaraderie and the fun that's out on the course. So that's the part that I really enjoy. I'm also competitive. I have a coach that's teaching me the game of golf, so I can get out there and feel comfortable, maybe go out and golf with Anna and some of her family members.
That's right. That's right.
Sheri, I wanna learn a little bit more about some, similar to Beth, you know, some of the organizations that you're aligning with. I know that DEI is an important component, I think, for everybody right now. And we're noticing, not only are we seeing a huge increase in female participation, but we're also seeing a growth in minority female participation. So, everybody kind of jump in, and Anna, I know you're working with the PGA to really kind of spearhead some new initiatives, but go ahead, you know, Sheri, maybe why don't you start and tell us about how you're aligning with different organizations, especially with women and minority growth in the game.
Right. Well, for me, that section that the PGA is committed to, the diversity, inclusiveness, and growing the game of golf in communities that normally don't have resources to get introduced to the game of golf. So that part in itself, of that initiative, is something that drew me even more to the organization I'm with now. And then my focus now is, one, getting it out to people of color, getting into those communities, but mostly working with kids in those communities to introduce them to the game of golf that otherwise, you know, they don't have the resources to participate in. So, but I really think the commitment from the PGA to be more diverse, to be more inclusive. We have a program called PGA Works, which is a fellowship where we bring in, you know, college grads, former grads, who want to get into the game of golf, but also we're going into communities that sometimes they didn't have the opportunity to even learn about the game of golf. So now they have a chance to experience being in the business sport of golf. So I think, you know, the commitment to those programs and the other programs are just huge. And I'm excited to see where it goes.
Amazing. Beth, share with us a little bit more about the different associations and organizations that you're sort of spearheading and aligning with.
Most of our stuff is done internally through Premier. We have Get Golf Ready and Get Golf Better. I mean, there's a number of things we do. Youth on Course is extremely popular. And then we try to work individually with different ladies and set up ladies leagues and ladies groups to really get them to the course and get them involved. It's really important. I can completely appreciate Sheri's input. That's fantastic. It's really important to us that we get ladies involved in playing golf, get them to the course, if they're uncomfortable playing a full round of golf, we like to get them to the range, introduce them to Top Tracer, some things that are fun, introduce it from a fun level, so that they can really experience a fun game rather than just getting frustrated at, I can't hit this ball as well as my friend hits the ball. So that's really important to us, is to make sure that we have that inclusiveness. And the same thing with us trying to bring in minorities, and we actually do a good bit of work working with physically disabled people in different aspects and getting them to the course. We found that golf is really great for autistic children and teens and adults because it's a one-on-one game. It challenges them personally, and they can really approach the game on their own terms. And they learn a lot, and they develop a lot of confidence. So things like that are really important to us.
That's amazing. And just thank you for all the work that you're doing there. It's a lot, and it's needed. Anna, will you share with us some of the things that you're working on? If you can even share some of the secrets that you're working on, because I know the PGA has all kinds of fun stuff unraveling all the time. But yeah, why don't you share that with us?
Yeah, I'm so grateful and proud of being able to partner with the PGA on this. And Sandy Cross has been leading the PGA in this space and doing an extraordinary job. One of the things we talked about back in the early 20s, how I actually first started in this space was speaking at the Sports Diversity and Inclusion Conference back in early 2000s. And that's where the PGA first saw me, aside from the fact that I had had a PGA scholarship as a kid and had written them thank you letters every year. But when they saw me at the Diversity and Inclusion Conference, one of the things that they got really intrigued by that started the conversation is, how do you look at what golf is to each generation? Because what we see is, I had the privilege of having a parent who played and being brought in through that. And that's mostly how golf gets introduced to our earlier generations. But as we looked now at, okay, we missed an entire generation of Gen Xers being able to play golf, because by and large, Title IX was not yet in place for them to be introduced to the game of golf through school equally. Like, for instance, I wanted to get a scholarship in golf, but there were no girls' scholarships in golf at that point. So when we are looking at this and how do we bring more voices into it, we have to look at, what do we do now to introduce them and recognize that our real competition for many times is not, do they not play golf, but what are they playing or doing in the space of golf that takes up those resources or takes up that time, or how do we get them introduced if they don't have a family member already in it? Then we have to be looking at the messaging and the micro messaging that says you're not welcome here. That was one of the things we worked on in the early spaces for women. When we come into a golf shop and we look around and we look at maybe 5 to 15% of the merchandise is targeted towards us, and that's generous in some golf shops, that tells us right away, this is not really here. And I can't tell you how many times I walked into a golf shop and said, where's the merchandise for women? And they're like, women really don't buy golf merchandise. And I'm standing there asking for help, and they're like, say that again.
I go, but actually, we actually buy everything.
We buy everything. And don't tell me women don't buy golf clothes, because that's just wrong, right? So those little micro messages that people didn't understand they were sending, even something as simple as the bathrooms. I mean, put more bathrooms on your golf course and put signage as to where your bathrooms are and make sure they're clean for women, right? It's a very different thing. But if I'm going to a new property and I don't know where the bathrooms are, there's no signage for them, and men are like, every tree's an opportunity. That is just a level of, I'm not really welcome. This is not really designed for you. And so when we began looking at this, we looked at, where are women in their life stage, generationally and career-wise both, and then what would be the message that you need to be getting there? For a lot of our baby boomers who their spouse played golf, they never really played and kind of resented it because it seemed to take time away, but now they've moved into the R word, retirement. That's a different message. Get Golf Ready is an extraordinary program for that, because that's being able to bring them together. But for our Gen Xers that did not grow up with golf, when they get married and their spouse wants to go play and they're saying, listen, we're co-parenting. You need to not leave me a golf widow for the weekend. You need to be here with me. That's where Junior League of Golf becomes really important, because now, and this wasn't something they had at the time we began, now it's a family affair. We get to go as a family, and one person's not leaving the other person to carry the weight of the children and raising and the weekends. And for our millennials, looking at where they are in their career, golf is a really great tool to help you get in the conversation with the C-suite or the leadership that you wouldn't necessarily have. So now it becomes a leverage to your career. And for the Gen Zs, this becomes a way to build your confidence and character. I sat on the board of First Tee for a long time, and I just love the programs of First Tee, because they really do teach golf as the metaphor for learning and growing and leading and having that character.
I love that. And kudos, right, to the PGA for coming up with all these unique programs. Secretly, I know that they have all kinds of, even small things. They don't really advertise, but they really are focused right now on bringing together underrepresented youth and exposing them to the game. PGA Works, I know that Sheri, you just mentioned that as well, really exposing the job opportunities that exist in and around the game of golf. There's so much to do with the game of golf, and it's not necessarily where you've got to play professional. And if I do my stats correctly, women are slowly taking up upwards of 35% of the golf workforce. So we're starting to see ourselves not only playing more, but also rising in the workspace. So I think it's important too for young women to know the value of the game, as you mentioned, Anna. How important is the game of golf for the developmental growth of a young woman, and then also the development of her in the workplace? So two-part question. What are some of the values that she will pick up and carry forward that are positive and will help her move forward in life and in the workplace? Beth?
Well, for young women and the getting into golf I think it's fantastic. It gives them a lot of opportunities. They learn different skills that they don't even realize they're learning when they're learning to play golf, right? They're learning things like patience with others. They're learning teamwork. They're learning to depend on themselves. They're learning self-confidence. They're learning how to follow rules. I mean, and in the business world, you have to know how to follow rules. You have to know when you can break them and when you can bend them, and when you really need to strictly follow them. And golf provides a kind of, I guess, a sneaky way to teach young ladies how to navigate that type of a world. It gives them strength, and it gives them an opportunity to meet others in the golf industry at their age and really connect with others that are trying to achieve the same things they are and build long-term relationships.
No, absolutely. And are you seeing the types of success and values? Do you apply that in your day-to-day? All the beautiful lessons we learn on the course in the workplace?
Of course. I mean, it's pretty cool because teamwork is so important. I just had a colleague of mine and I just met today, and we were talking so much about teamwork. And it's amazing when you see the team members who play golf actually tend to have more of that skill of being able to interact with one another and being able to really respect the other positions than those who haven't. It's actually a noticeable difference to somebody who's been involved in the golf industry and who has had a solid experience behind them, learning the game, learning the relationships. And for us, it really helps in the day-to-day activities and their relationships. Of course, we manage golf courses, so it's important that they know the game and they understand the game to be able to really interact with our customers and guide them in the directions they go. And it's so fantastic that we're seeing more and more ladies join us in our staff and on our teams across all of the courses we manage.
No, that's amazing. Anna, will you share with us some of the values you feel that young women can sort of grow into and take into everyday life?
Golf is an inner game. And I think that building that inner game is directly translatable to life, because I remember as a little girl, when I would get angry on the golf course, maybe Dad would say, okay, pick up your clubs and walk this next hole. He wanted me to be able to self-regulate and not let that result inform everything about my experience of golf. He didn't want me tying the experience of golf to just being angry and then I don't like the game. And I'll never forget that, because I was like, oh, this is something that I get to say how my experience of this game goes. I don't let the game itself influence, take over me. And so I think that's really important in life, because we're going to have obstacles, we're going to have challenges, we're going to have things happen. And we need to be able to be conscious of our inner conversation, our inner mindset, our inner reactions to that, and make choices about them, not let them take us over. So I think the game of golf is something that you get to observe yourself while doing it. And you also observe, how others play. Do they play by the rules? Do they cheat? And you get to recognize character in others and character in yourself. Do you call yourself on that penalty? Maybe nobody saw it. This happens in life and in business too. So there's a lot about just the inner game of golf, as well as the athleticism of golf. But the other thing too is, with so much adrenaline-based sports, golf, while exciting, is also a sport where you ground yourself. where you make sure that as you're moving around the course, you're observing nature, you're having a conversation with somebody that's in real human time. And so I think that that is something that we come to appreciate more and more with our fast-paced move, 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 go, go, go space of the world. So I think those are things that are really translatable, and they take them into the workplace. I remember my dad's golf course was a university golf course, and the president of the university had become a good friend with him. And he would always bring people that were in their final interview stage down to play golf with him and my father. And at the end of the round of golf, he would say to my dad, "What do you think?" And what he was asking is this person's character somebody that we at the university want to have? Like, how did they handle themselves with you, somebody that they didn't necessarily know was important or didn't have a big title or that kind of thing? How did they handle themselves when they did think I wasn't watching? And that was a really important thing. Golf is one of those games that how you handle yourself translates to how you handle life.
Oh my gosh, you just nailed like all kinds of things that, I haven't even, I know, but I haven't really said. The characteristics of other people, and spending that quality time when you go to restaurants and you kind of, recycle the same activities. You can't hear in certain places, right? Golf really gives you that time and that space to get to know people. So that's an excellent point. Sheri, now this is a little different for you because you got, some of those adrenaline sports, that you got that adrenaline sport in you too, and you made the crossover. So what was the difference there between the WNBA playing professional basketball and then edging your way into golf?
Well, the commonality of sport, even mentioning the lessons that you learn, like I think it's golf. I learned those same lessons in basketball. So the lessons about teamwork and, integrity, respect. So I think it's the commonality of sport. I mean, for me, I was competitive, played at a high level. I had the skills to do that in basketball. I don't have those skills yet to do that and compete at a high level in golf. But when I'm out on the course, there is adversity. Like when I'm in the bunker, am I going to just, let it affect my next shot, my next hole? So it's kind of like you turn the ball over next play, you hit it in the bunker, next shot. So it's a lot of commonality in the sport that you learn and you build from. And I use it in life today. I use it when I'm on the golf course. So it's transferable from sport to sport. And then we use that in life. And to me, those are some of the key values that help me be successful.
That's wonderful. There are so many women out there that have yet to pick up a club, but with all these new technology sort of opportunities with like Topgolf and simulators, golf is sort of becoming a little bit more mainstream and available, and obviously with access, with the PGA and different organizations just really welcoming women, making it feel a little bit more comfortable, like Anna mentioned. There are women, and I know we know a lot of them, and we're sort of trying to get them into the game, and probably a lot of those lovely ladies are joining us today. To close out, I would love for each of you to provide a piece of advice to a woman who maybe has never picked up a club, has maybe some of the stigmas that it doesn't belong to her, or that she may not fit in or she may fail. What is the best piece of advice, and Beth, we'll start with you, that you can tell a young woman to and get her into the game of golf?
I think one of the best things I can say to a young woman in golf is that it's a wide open field for ladies in golf. It's a great way to, make great long-term friendships. You can really build relationships in business that will take you a long way in business. It develops your own personal character, many things that Anna said, as far as how it builds your inner strengths and your inner resolve, and really being able to have something that you can focus on yourself, similar to the way some people focus on yoga. Golf is very much like that. It's a very internalized, and a place where you can focus, you can relax, you can kind of center yourself and become more calm and learn how to face business issues from a different standpoint. You can learn how to take what you learn in golf and really relate that to your business activities as you grow in life, giving you a lot of great opportunities. Plus, women are still being left out of business opportunities compared to their male counterparts. And I think golf provides the ladies with not only an opportunity to improve their own skills and improve their own relationships, but it also really allows them to develop the relationships with their male counterparts so that their male counterparts can actually view them on a level footing. They can meet them out on the golf course. They can get to know them from a different standpoint outside of the office space, which unfortunately for many years, that's how women have been known. If you're going to work in the workplace, you're going to be in the office. You're not going to be out on the golf course. So I think golf really is something that ladies need to really embrace, even more so than men, to help improve their future as far as business relationships go, and just really create a certain level of pride and passion within themselves.
So the lesson from Beth here is that golf is the great equalizer. So for women out there, everybody in the Washington State area, golf is the great equalizer. You heard it from Beth, okay? Sheri, give it to me.
Have no fear. No. You know, I mean, everything, I think Beth said it best, but it's just about doing it. I know just me starting golf, there are a lot of, I know here in the Bay Area, there's this group called Sisters on the Links. And it's just a women's club for golf.
I looked them up when you told me. I looked them up right away. And it's a pretty big group.
Yes, it's big, and it's in LA too. So find the groups. There are a lot. I mean, during the pandemic, the game of golf grew a lot, but it also, women were one of those women were one of the fastest growing demographics in the game of golf. So I think that it's women are out there, find someone, go and play and enjoy the game, and it's something that will help you build confidence as well. So just go and play. Don't be afraid. Find your group and go get out on the courses. So
Sheri, face your fear, enjoy, take the chance, and hit that ball. It's your ball to hit.
Absolutely. I mean, that's life, right? That's life.
Yeah.
You have to just take that chance and do it. And then you always discover new things about yourself and just about the world. So it's kind of my philosophy.
I love it. Anna, please share with us.
Yeah. You know, there's never been a time in history when women were more welcome in the game of golf. Everyone wants you to win. This is the time in which everybody is saying, please come in, join us. And you want to take that invitation because it's going to open doors. It's going to open fairways for you. And just by the fact, even if you don't get to play the game that often initially, right? Just by the fact that you can speak the language, you can talk the lingo, that right there opens up doorways for you. I can't tell you how many times in my history gentlemen have said, oh, you play golf? Oh, really? And then you throw down a couple of terms and they're like, how are you doing? This is interesting. This is good. And it all of a sudden changes the tenor and the caliber of the business conversation we could be having because they know I speak a secret language. And so learn the language of golf, learn the basics of golf, and then have grace and space for yourself to be exactly at the stage of play you are. You do not need to be at the same level as someone who has spent their entire life playing the game. We wouldn't expect that of ourselves in any other aspect of life, that we open our first piano book and play one note and we're also playing a concert piano. You know, we don't expect those to be that. So have grace and space for yourself in the game and know that this is just the first step to a future that is completely unlimited.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that is so great. The lingo is so important. You know, sometimes when you know, you're right, when a group of gentlemen are talking golf and you're able to step in and contribute, it's like, you know, what Beth said, it's an equalizer. So this has been amazing. Ladies, Anna, Sheri, Beth, I want to thank you so much for joining us on the Power of the Pivot. Shout out to WA Golf, shout out to Toyota, shout out to the PGA. Everything that you are doing is so needed in this sport, and we want to thank you. All right, you guys take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Excellent.
Make some birdies.
Good to meet you all.
Move it. Take it up, get it, light it up.